Good morning from Las Vegas, everyone. I'm Scott Agness of FieldhouseFiles.com, providing you with all the coverage of this Indiana Fever playoff run. Well, after neither the Aces nor the Fever practiced yesterday, they were back here at Michelob Ultra Arena getting prepared here for Game 2 coming up Tuesday night. It'll be 9:30 Eastern Time tip-off, and of course the Indiana Fever have a 1-0 lead in this best-of-5 series. Becky Hammon, Asia Wilson is able to talk to after shoot-around today, and they realize how much more they need to elevate their game, starting with the physicality, starting with making those bunnies inside. Becky Hammon was very frustrated with how many easy layups and shots they missed, especially in that first quarter where the Fever got up nearly double digits before an 8-0 run by the Aces to close the opening frame. But it was a game where the Fever led basically the entire way. They outscored the Aces in each of the 4 quarters, and by the fourth quarter it was basically well in hand. And after Aces shoot-around, it was the Fever's turn here at their arena before Game 2, and all the players out there getting stretched and loosened up, and you got to imagine how much of a toll this season has been for the Fever, in particular those players that have been there for every single game just about. Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie Hull. I was asking Lexie afterward about how much this season has taken a toll and how her body feels at this juncture, and she was like, look, it's in a tough spot. This is a whole new feeling. She's never had a season go this far in terms of a WNBA season, and you add in that extra game they had for the WNBA Cup, and right now they're doing all the things necessary to get through the season, extra treatment, and that's really, for example, what yesterday was about for this team as they go ahead, because look, Lexie probably have to play 35 minutes. Same thing for Kelsey, and Aaliyah Boston probably at 30 minutes as well, as they expect a competitive one here coming up Tuesday night here in Las Vegas. After Fever shoot-around, we talked with head coach Stephanie White as well as Lexie Hull, and part of the conversations with the head coaches centered around the firing of Sandy Brundella over in New York after they won the championship last year. 1 year later, I know it was a little bit of a rocky up and down season for them, but there aren't a ton of great coaches, I don't think, in this league, and so to move on from one like Sandy, who, by the way, coached the All-Stars, coached Caitlin Clark's team in Indianapolis, was definitely a shocker when it came down to it. But anyway, come inside Indiana Fever shoot-around before Game 2 here in Las Vegas. What did you make out of that first game and able to get the win and continue this magical run?
Yeah, I mean, I think people weren't expecting us to win. So we came out, we obviously are playing with nothing to lose. We're playing with a lot of joy, a lot of love for each other, and I think that shows up on the court. It feels good to steal the first one, for sure, especially in their house.
Seems like since Game 1 of last time, the message of 50-50 balls, all those little things, margin of error, that has really resonated with this group and something you've been able to thrive off of.
Yeah, I think like playoffs for any team, that's what it comes down to, and that's what we're hearing. Obviously, someone like me and a lot of us who don't have a lot of playoff experience, leaning on the people that have, and that's the messaging that we keep hearing is the teams that get the 50 balls, teams that work harder, that focus more, are going to win. So that's really what we're focusing on every game.
How much has Sydney's voice resonated, maybe even more in this series, given her history with this franchise?
Yeah, I mean, she shared some insights into like what she thinks they will look for individually, what they'll go to at the end of the game, end of shot clock, and so I think it really does help us because we kind of know what to look for, and we know a little bit into what they're thinking and how they're approaching the game helps us respond to it.
How's the body feel at this time of the year, given all that you in particular have gone through and are always on the floor?
I'm a little sore, not gonna lie. It's catching up to me, but we're gonna just keep getting warm, keep going out there, try to forget about the pain a little bit. But that's the part of the year. That's everyone. Everyone's playing with a little bit of bumps and bruises, and again, you just kind of forget about that in playoffs.
What it means to you to stuck around for all this injuries.
We're so grateful. It's really great to know that we have a support system everywhere we go. We have fans cheering for us everywhere we go, and that goes a long way. You know, playing in anybody else's home court with their home fans, it can be intimidating. They can go on runs, and you can feel like, you know, the crowd is really playing a role. And I feel like because we have people that continue to show up for us, we're always playing with a little bit of fan support. So we're really grateful for everyone that traveled, and I think more than anything, we're really, really, really excited to get back to Cambridge and play in front of those home fans.
Just like frame this is nicer. You guys obviously had a big influx of fans last year. Does it feel like they've learned more about you guys over the last couple years? Like just like their fans and everyone now?
Yeah. I think, obviously with the addition of Caitlin, her fans followed the Fever. And this year we're so grateful, especially with the injuries that have happened and the fans that have continued to stay around and support us, that they're fans of the entire team. They're fans of people that have been here for a month. They're fans of people that have been here like Kelsey for 8 whatever years. Like, we're grateful for everyone that's here, and whoever's hopped on the bandwagon, we're more than welcome to keep adding. So if you're fans of the Fever, we love you.
Yes. What was your immediate reaction to that?
Just, disappointed obviously for Sandy. She's a great coach, great human being. And of course, in our profession, you hate to see that.
I guess what do you make of just the pace of turnover that we've seen in the W over the last few years?
I don't know. I mean, those are jobs above my pay grade, so I don't really know what to make of it.
What'd you try to get accomplished yesterday? Just film review and a little bit game plan?
Yeah, I mean, we watch film, walking through some of the things that we want to adjust, some of the things we might not have executed the way that we wanted to as well, and also just anticipating some of the things that they might throw at us. So, not a heavy physical day. We played a lot of heavy, hard minutes, and but a heavy mental day.
You all have been so good at this as the underdogs, but how do you just not let the emotion of the major Game 1 win affect you moving forward in a long series?
I mean, we just approach it one day at a time. We really do try to be where our feet are, be in the moment. We can't think about anything that we've already done. We can't look too far ahead, and this group is very good about staying locked in. Obviously we expect a different effort. From Vegas. When you're in these situations, we were in the same situation in the last series. Your back is against the wall. Like, there's a certain desperation that you play with, and we've got to be able to play with that same desperation. And so we just have to stay in the moment, stay locked in, and be where our feet are.
Building off of that, Coach, and you talked about that desperation and needing to kind of match that energy from Vegas. How do you prepare to do that when you're not in the same situation? You're not as desperate, perhaps, as they are.
Well, I feel like we've been desperate since about the beginning of August. Really, I mean, we've had to play every game with that desperation, and so we've sort of adopted that mentality. We know that in order for us to position ourselves to win, like, it has to be about execution, it has to be about grit, it has to be about toughness, it has to be about pace. We don't have the luxury of not competing at a high level night in and night out, and this group understands that. And I feel like, since about the beginning of August, that they've played that way. So we always have a sense of desperation in our minds.
Building off of you saying, like, that execution, you guys have been really good at executing at a high level and executing the game plan that you develop. What have you seen from your team in terms of their ability to focus amidst all that emotion, amidst physical fatigue, and still be able to execute at such a high level against such high quality opponents?
Yeah, I think the first and foremost, they're really good at not giving into excuses. They understand what it takes. And as we've said throughout the course of the year, there's no substitute for experience. And now experiencing this moment for some of them, for the first time, their attention to detail has been really good. It continues to be really good. They allow us to coach them, to challenge them, to push them. And that's important because it does take a different level and a different version of yourself and a different version of a team to compete in the semifinals, more so than it did in the first round and more so than it did in the regular season. Every level up needs a different version of themselves, and they allow us to push them to that. And so they handle coaching really well. They take a lot of pride in what they do, and they take a lot of pride in doing it for one another and having each other's back. And I think that's what allows them to go out and to continue to execute. We're not always perfect, but when we play with that effort and that multiple levels of effort, it allows us to work through those imperfections.
Steph, with Odyssey in particular, do you think that's just a perfect example of fit and opportunity and then settling in now?
Yeah, I think it is. The moment that we lost, Arian Sid, we knew we needed a playmaker, and she was one of the ones that's been out there. She does that at a high level. She has done that at a high level throughout her entire career. So right time, right moment, and I think playing with this group who just allows her to do what she does best, I think it gives her a comfort zone to know that we need her to do that. And there are some games where I'm on her if she's too passive, because we are not successful if she's not the best version of herself, which is getting downhill, getting into the paint, creating for herself, creating for others, and playing with that high intensity level. And she's been terrific for us, and we're going to need her to continue to be.
Coach, you mentioned pride, and the Fever is a very prideful franchise. What's it meant to you with your own history as a member of the Fever, as coach of the Fever, to kind of lead this team back to a place of impact within this league?
It means a lot. I mean, this is a franchise that I love. It's really a fabric of my DNA. From a player to assistant coach to head coach to just the state of Indiana and how much we love basketball and how much pride we take. And really, it's just a sports town. I mean, the Pacers run, what the Colts are doing, this year, and with us, as a Fever, it's important for us to put our best foot forward. I think we represent, our state and our city and how we compete in being that gritty, tough, blue collar, kind of team. We hope to lead our city, our state, and our country, for that matter, in how we approach life and how the examples that we show in not just grit, resilience and toughness, but inclusion and allowing people to be the best version of themselves. I mean, we take a lot of pride in everything that we do and being leaders in our community and setting its own, and also being an escape from some of the harsh realities that happen, in life.
How does it feel seeing Coach Steichen in particular and the Colts shout out what your group is doing?
I mean, it feels great. It really is. Our community is very much like small town college feel, for supporting one another. I mean, from Coach Steichen to I get texts from Rick, to see the Pacers players and the Colts players in the building, and for our players to be in their buildings. Like it's just it's important, and I think it shows how tight the sports community is in the city of Indianapolis and in the state of Indiana.
AJ, looking back at last game, what kind of most bothered you about the way it panned out for you and the team?
The loss. Losing sucks. But obviously our defense has to be better.
What stood out to you about the physicality with you and Aaliyah inside in particular, and how you guys were battling?
It's no different than any other time that I play Aaliyah or any other big in this league. It's always been very physical, and then it's playoffs, so they let you get away with a lot of different things. But that doesn't really change much of the game and our system. So we really just got to continue to buckle in.
I wonder if you can just speak to how your relationship with Becky has grown and developed over your time here, but especially this season.
Oh man, our relationship has always grown in a very loving and caring way, honestly. She's someone that cares about us deeper than just the player level, but she's also sees so much potential in us, and she gets that out of us every single day. And I know that's hard for her, because some days we just don't have it. But she always shows up to work for us to work and ready to work, and that makes us like get going. It inspires us, and I think this season you see our relationship really come together on a deeper level than just player coach, only because we go from 2022, 2023, where it's like, okay, roses, and having to push that aside, and none of that even matters now. So it's just a matter of us coming together and being just on one accord.
And what role would you say, you talk about that thicker connection, what role has faith played in your connection with each other?
It is our connection. The way that God has brought us together in different ways, the way that God has just really helped us settle in has been very, very helpful for us. And it is the only way. That is how we speak to each other. That is how we speak life in each other. But also understand that we didn't come this far to be this far. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And I love Becky's faith. I'm like, if anyone can teach me the Bible, I would want it to be Becky. The way that she can just translate it to common language to help you understand and how you're living in it right now is something special.
What role, as there's been a couple of additions over the course of the season, Melissa, and then of course with Cheyenne coming back, being healthy, just what have you seen from them, and what have they contributed to this team, especially now?
Obviously Cheyenne's will to work. I mean, for her to come back and to be such another vital piece of this system has been so cool to see. I mean, it's so inspiring just to see the way that she's just navigating it all. And we know she has her days, but she still shows up as this vibrant light that we need in our locker room. So super grateful for her. And then when it came to Liz, she was someone that we really believed in. I've always been a fan of Alyssa, even from afar. So to have her on the team and to see her work ethic, to see her basketball mind, it always reminds me why she was the number 2 pick. It always reminds me that she has so much more that she can give, but she just gotta have some people tell her that, and that's what I've learned just throughout this whole group is like sometimes you just gotta tell each other that you believe in one another, and that belief can bring so much out of each other, and that's what we do for Liz, and she does the same for us. The way that she holds herself accountable to things at such a young age, it's been a joy to play alongside.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What becomes most important when you try to get Indiana out of their fast-paced tempo and thriving off of defensive stops?
Just containing the basketball without fouling, honestly. There's no way of slowing them down because that's what people are. That's why they're great. You just gotta have to just contain them and hope for the best. I mean, that's what people say about us. Like, how do you contain Asia? How do you contain the Aces? I don't know. You just try to make it hard, and that's what it is. So for us, we just gotta be locked in on the defensive end.
You talk about Melissa. It takes a minute to kind of settle in and figure out how you're going to fit. So when did you really start to feel like she settled and sort of turned that corner for you guys?
Ooh. I can't even remember the particular game, but I think probably just every single day you just see her really starting to settle in, and I think I don't even know which game it was, but it was just a sense of she had a sense of I belong here, and I love that, and not necessarily just here in the Aces, but here in this league, and it can be hard. So I think that was I can't even think of the right game, but you definitely just saw this light just get ignited in her, and she played a really good game.
Asia, John with Radio in Indiana. Congrats on the latest MVP.
Thank you.
I know to some degree, you were a mentor for Aaliyah, part of the USC family. How have you seen her evolve from when you first had her come into the program?
Definitely just utilizing her size and the way that she can get to her spots is something that is so hard to do in our league, but she does that really, really well. And also, credit her teammates. They find her in the right spots at the right time, so all she has to do is kind of just put the ball up.
Yeah, just last one for you. You're kind of a model for her over the years. What's it like, though, now you're playing for a spot in the finals against her?
It's special. This is what Coach Daly does. She produces pros and pros that go at really high levels. So it's always a special moment when you can share the court with a fellow Gamecock. We're both competing at a high level.
You can't just flip something and then just go, okay, this is, it's when you overhaul a coaching staff, it's hard. You got to reestablish your foundation. And then when it gets hard, if there's cracks in those foundations, you're going to get, leakage. So, I didn't love it for Sandy. I can be honest. I think she's, like I said, she just won a championship. She's won in other places. And I know her to be a quality coach and a quality person. So those are rare sometimes to get that mixture of qualities as a head coach. So you ask the New York people.
Do you anticipate, I mean, we saw some outside the box hires this past cycle, the W, with Carl. Obviously, there's been more NBA influence the last few years. Do you anticipate maybe that continuing, like just in general, like sort of influence?
It could. I mean, I think, W coaches are starting to get paid more, so you can lure in better talent. I think for a long time, so many college coaches were just getting paid so much more than the W coaches, so they just stayed in college. Now, I think it's a little bit more enticing, especially you don't have to deal with the portal. You don't have to deal with all this other crap that now coaches have to deal with in college. It's like in college now, you don't have to just recruit your player once, you have to recruit them for 4 years. And not to get too much in that, but you get to transfer one-time homes. Figure it out. But coaches, now you're going to start to see, the same thing with the LA coach, coming from college. Carl, you're going to start maybe some of that talent, that college coaching talent, come in here because you're going to get a better paycheck and you don't have to deal with a lot of that other stuff that I don't want to deal with as a head coach. Let me coach basketball. That's my lane. Not NIL and all that other malarkey that's getting thrown around.
Love the use of malarkey.
Malarkey. I mean, if I was a college player, I'd be like, damn, I was born in the wrong generation. I could have been making some money.
Just speaking of coaching basketball, I guess, that you get to do today, having had your film and practice and whatever, just what do you think about for today?
I expect us to win today. We were in the same boat 2022. I thought that year, us and Seattle were the two best teams. If you recall that 2022 season, Seattle sat where they sat in the standings because they had a massive bout of COVID at the beginning of the year. So Stewie and their main pieces were missing some games, which I think reflected in their record. But to me, us and them were the best team in 2022. So we've been here before. We know we have to take care of business. And fortunately for us, it's not a one-game series. It's a 5-game series. But we do have to play better. We do have to execute better. And honestly, have a better effort level, especially like transition defense. I think our group is very optimistic because we know the things that we need to do are within our control.
Isha said she was more embarrassed by that game than the Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way?
I was pretty furious, but I mean, look, Kelsey, I mean, there's a lot of emotions, right? Like, hey, their team is such a surprise. They have nothing to lose. Like, they're playing on house money. And us, you're always going to have a pressure. And by the way, that's what you sign up for. You come here. There's always going to be pressure to win. And not just win in the first round. It's to win a championship. No one's going to be happy unless we win a championship. It's just not the goal to get to the playoffs. It's not the standard. And, there was a lot of hoopla around round A for obvious reasons with the MVP stuff. But that's a lot. I thought we missed a lot of easy ones early. I mean, we smoked a layup first play of the game. And I kind of felt like that was like kind of set a bad tone for us. So I think emotionally and mentally we're in a lot better place coming into it. Now I wish we didn't have to get punched in the nose to wake up, but it is what it is. But I do know we'll respond.
What do you attribute the biggest thing since the last time you guys were in Indiana? That was that game, right? What changed to get you to this point where you've won 18 and 20?
What changed, I think, is they started taking pride in the little things. They started executing. They started having more accountability with each other. You guys all know that I made them start writing scouting reports. So they're locked in watching film, 2 days before we play. That's a huge advantage than me just walking in day of or day before. You've already been thinking it. You've already had visualization. So I think that has helped in our execution factor. And what was really great in our win streak was, one, our defense. I think we were number 2 ranked defense during that stretch of games. And then, Jack and Chelsea were averaging around 8-9 assists. Like, they were just making sure everybody ate. And we got to get back to that. doing those little things, executing and pulling out greatness in each other. And Jack and Chelsea are the main two that I know I can lean on to do that for people. A's gonna be A. She's gonna get her numbers. I thought she missed a lot of ducks. She knows she missed a lot of easy ones. I don't suspect she doesn't have 2 stinkers in a row. I can tell you that.